Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel Crack Java Interview with RK. So today we are going to discuss the top 20 most asked core Java interview questions you must know if you want a master core Java and crack Java interviews. Whether you are a fresher or an experienced professional, these questions are commonly asked. So it's important to be well prepared. Make sure you watch till the end and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel to stay updated with more Java interview questions and Spring Boot tutorials. Let's see the first question. What are the main features of Java? So you can say like simple, object oriented, platform independent, secure, robust, multi-threaded, distributed, high performance. Okay. So next question is, what is the differences between JDK, JRE and JVM? So JVM stands for Java Virtual Machine. It runs Java bytecode. Okay. JRE, Java Runtime Environment. JRE provides JVM plus libraries to run applications. And JDK stands for Java Development Kit. It provides JRE plus tools to develop Java program. You can see in the diagram. Okay. And next question is, what is the meaning of platform independent in Java? So Java is called platform independent because the compiled Java code, it means bytecode, can run on any machine that has a Java virtual machine, it means JVM. The JVM acts as an interpreter between the compile code and the underlying operating system, allowing Java program to be write once and run anywhere. WRA. Next question is, what is object oriented programming? So object oriented programming is a programming approach that organizes software design around data or objects rather than functions and logics. It uses key concepts like encapsulations, inheritance, polymorphism, and abstraction to build modular, reusable code. Ob- Ops make programs easier to maintain, scale, and understand. Next question. What is the difference between double equal operator and dot equals methods in Java? So we use double equal operator to compare references. It means memory addresses. And dot equals methods we use to compare actual object content. It's overridden in class like string class. For example, we creating two objects, string str1 equal to new string Ravi, string str2 equal to new string Ravi. So in this case, we print two statement, str1 equal str2, str1 dot equals str2. So the first statement return false because both object hold the different reference. It means memory address, but both objects have the same content. So the second statement return true statement, true value. Okay. Next, what is a constructor in Java? So a constructor in Java is a special method used to initialize object. It has the same name as the class and no return type, not even void. Constructors are called when an object is created and can be overloaded to accept different parameters. It enabling flexible object initialization. Next, can you overload constructor in Java? Yes, constructor can be overloaded in Java by defining multiple constructors with different parameter list. This allows different way to initialize object. For example, we have a class car, two variables string model int year. So in constructor 1 we have a single one parameter constructor model. In constructor 2 we have two parameterized constructor model and year. Okay. Next question is, what is the differences between method overloading and method overriding? So overloading means same method name and different parameters within a same class. It is used to achieve compile time polymorphism. Okay, and overriding, it means same method signature in subclass. For it is used to achieve runtime polymorphism. Okay, next, what is the final keyword in Java? So the final keyword in Java is used to declare constants and prevent method overriding and prevent inheritance. It can be applied to variables, methods, and classes, ensuring immutability or restriction. Okay. Next, what is a static keywords in Java? So the static keyword in Java is used to define class level variables and methods. These can be accessed without creating an instance of the class and shared by all instances. For example, we have a class counter and static int count equal to 0, and we have also one static method, static void increment. Inside this we doing count plus plus, and the main class, inside the main class we call directly the increment method without creating any object by the class name counter.increment. And the next, we print statement. We access the count variables with the class name dot count. Okay, so static variables or static method we can access directly with the class name. No need to create object of that class to access this. Next question, what is the differences between an abstract class and an interface? So features and of abstract class and interface. The purpose for this for abstract class is used to provide a partial implementation, can have both complete and incomplete methods, while interface used to define a contract, only method signature initially. Java 8 plus versions allow default methods also, and methods in abstract class, methods can have abstract and non-abstract implemented methods. Okay, but in interface can have only abstract methods until Java 8. After that, can also have default and static methods. Variables in abstract class can have instance variable, non-final, non-static. But in interface, variables are public, static, and final by default, constant. Cannot have a and if we're talking about constructor, abstract class can have a constructor, while interface cannot have a constructor. What about access modifiers? In abstract class, can use private, protected, public modifiers. But in interface, all methods are public by default. Inheritance in abstract class, a class can extend only one abstract class. It means single inheritance. In interface, a class can implement multiple inheritance we can achieve through interface. Usage, when you want to share common behavior and also enforce some methods to be implemented. When you want to only define capabilities without worrying about implementation. So that's all about abstract class and interface. Next question is, what is encapsulation in Java? So encapsulation in Java is a technique used to protect an object data from unauthorized access and modification by using private field and providing public getter and setter methods. Okay. So in encapsulation, we protect our data to access from unauthorization or modification. We can achieve this by using private field and provide getter and setter methods. Okay. For example, we have a class person. Here we have name int string name int age and provide getter and setter methods. So you notice here in setter method we provide a check. It means the caller of this method can't set the null or empty name. Okay, and while age, the caller of the set age method can't set the age less than 0. Okay, so we secure our data. It means protect our data. Sometimes you ask what's the advantage of using private getter setter, public getter setter, and private fields. So you can say like to protect our data by providing some validations. Okay, so here in main class uh, we create object of person class, set name and set age, and here getting person dot get name and age. Okay, next question is what is inheritance in Java? So inheritance in Java is a mechanism where a new class inherits properties and behaviors from an existing class. It allows code reuse and establish a relationship between parent, it means superclass, and child, it means subclasses. Okay. For example, we have a class animal, and inside this we have a method sound. Assert animals makes a sound. Next, class dog extend animal class and override the sound method. And inside this method, we assert dog barks. Inside main class, main method, we create object of dog class and dog dot sounds. So it print dog barks. Here, dog inherit from animal and override the sound methods. Okay, it's a compile time polymorphism. So what is polymorphism in Java? Next question is, so polymorphism in Java allow object to be treated as instance of their parent class, enabling multiple method implementation. It can be achieved through method overriding, it means runtime polymorphism, and method overloading, it means compile time polymorphism. For example, we have a class animal, method sound, another class dog, extend animal class, override sound method, and main class, main method. Here, notice one thing. We create object of dog class and reference this to the animal class, which is parent class. So animal is the object's name. So animal dot sound, it print dog barks because runtime polymorphism. Okay. Next question is what is the difference between array list and linked list? So the main difference between array list and linked list in Java lie on how they store and manage data. Array list use a dynamic array to store elements, faster for accessing elements by index in constant time, O1 complexity, slower for inserting or removing elements in the middle, ON due to shifting elements. Okay, and while linked list use a doubly linked list to store elements, slower for accessing elements by index ON because it needs to traverse the list, faster for inserting or removing elements O1 at the beginning or middle since no shifting is required. Okay. Next question is what is the difference between throw and throws in Java? So in Java, both throw and throws are used for handling exceptions, but they have different purpose. Throw keyword used to explicitly throw an exception from within a method or block of code. It is followed by an instance of an exception, either checked or unchecked. For example, we have a method public void check age, int age. If age is less than 18, then throw new illegal argument exception. Age must be 18 or older. Okay. While throws used in a method declaration to declare that the method can throw exception. This tells the compiler that the method may throw specified exception and the calling code must handle or declare them. It is followed by the exception types. The method may throw for example, we have a method public void read file string file name throws IO exception. file reader, file new, file reader, file name. The key difference between throw and throws: throw is used to actually throw an exception in the code, while throw is used to declare that a method can throw one or more exceptions, letting the calling method handle or propagate them. Okay. The next question is, what is exception handling in Java? So exception handling in Java is a mechanism to handle runtime errors, allowing the program to continue execution. It uses try catch, finally, and throw to manage exception and ensure gracefully error recovery. For example, we have a try catch block. Inside try int result equal to 10 divided by 0. Inside catch, we catch the arithmetic exception and the assault error and error message. Inside finally block, we print cleanup executed. Okay. Next is, what is multi-threading in Java? So multi-threading in Java is a technique where multiple threads can concurrently within a program, improving performance, especially on multi-core processors. It allows efficient task execution, making application more responsive and resource efficient. Okay. Next question is, what are access modifiers in Java? So access modifiers in Java determine the visibility and accessibility of classes, methods, and variables. There are four main types of access modifiers in Java. First is public, private, protected, default. It means no modifier. So public, the member is accessible from any other class. Private, the member is accessible only within the same class. Protected, the member is accessible within the same package and by subclass even in different package. Default, no modifier. The member is accessible only within the same package. This is the default access level if no modifier is specified. Okay. For example, we have a class, my class, public variables, private variables, protected, and int. So public accessible anywhere, private accessible only within the class, protected accessible within the package and subclasses, default accessible within the same package. Okay. Next, what is the difference between string builder, and string buffer? So string is immutable while string builder is mutable. So immutable means once created, the value of a string cannot be changed. Performance wise, string builder is mutable, can modify its content without creating a new object. Performance wise, slower for string modification, as new objects are created each time a change is made. Performance wise, faster than string for frequent modification, as it doesn't create new object each time. Thread safety, string is not thread safe. String builder is not thread safe also. For example, string str equal to hello, str equal to str plus it means concatenation world. A new string object is created, while string builder sv equal to new string builder hello, sv dot append world modifies the original object. Okay, while string buffer is mutable like string builder. It allows modification without creating new objects. Performance wise, similar to string builder but slightly slower due to thread safety mechanism. Thread safety, thread safe. String builder is thread safe as it uses synchronized method for modification. For example, string builder sbf, new string builder hello, sbf dot append world modify the original object. Okay, so that's it. So that's it for today's session on top 20 core Java interview question in 20 minutes. If you found this helpful, please hit the like button, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel Crack Java Interview with RK for more Java interview questions and Spring Boot tutorials. Okay, thanks for watching. See you in next video.